Hello! Are you ready to learn how to make these cute ladybug sculptures? Let's begin! Here are the supplies needed. A scissors or a cutting shears, which I like to use for cutting out pieces of cardboard. Some aluminum foil, but you will need more than what is shown here. A hot glue gun. A foam ball that will be cut in half. The bottom half of a plastic egg. A small plastic bowl. I found these at the dollar store in a pack of 6. Or you can use an empty fruit cup bowl. Some masking tape. And this is optional but very handy to have. A hot glue fingertip protector. A piece of cardboard. A Sharpie marker. Some air dry clay. I like to store mine in a container like this to keep it moist. The brand of clay that I like to use is Sculpey air dry clay. This is optional, but I have a container of rice, and I will show you later how I use this. In this tutorial, I will show you a few different ways you can make a ladybug sculpture. I like to provide a variety of options so you can decide which method works best for you. There's a bit of a recessed area on the small plastic bowl, so I will fill in that area with hot glue. This helps to form a smoother and more rounded shape when the clay is added to the surface of the bowl. I set aside the bowl to allow the hot glue to cool. Next, I will fill in the dip on the fruit cup. To help round out the fruit cup, I use a crumpled up piece of foil that I attach with hot glue. I try to shape the foil into a little curved mound and press it firmly on the cup. Then I will set it aside to allow the hot glue to cool. The hot glue on the bowl still needs time to cool. In the meantime, I will work on forming a shape with foil for a smaller sized ladybug. I crumple up foil and press it into the plastic egg, trying to press the foil as firmly as possible. I will use a wooden tool to help form that round shape a little bit, to help press in those bumps in the foil just to smooth it more. And another method that I use to help smooth out those bumps is after I press it into the egg, I will roll it around on the surface of the counter and just help smooth out those bumpy areas. Next, I use some hot glue to fill in a few spots that have dips and gaps. Now that the glue has cooled, I will roll around the foil on the cup to help smooth the surface and compress the foil to make it firmer and rounder. The hot glue has cooled on the bowl, and I'm just using a little bit more hot glue to fill in some of the gaps that I missed. And using that fingertip protector to help smooth it out a little. Here are the prepped ladybug forms. One more step is needed for prepping the bowls and fruit cups. Since the ladybug forms are open at the bottom, I will close them up by attaching cardboard to the openings. There's a foam ball that I cut in half, which is the fastest way to make a ladybug form. Let's get back to the cardboard and the cups. I trace around the shape of the bowl using a Sharpie. Then I will cut out the circle shape and use masking tape to attach it to the bottom of the bowl. Next, I make sure that the entire surface of the cardboard is covered with masking tape. Now the ladybug forms are ready to be covered with clay. And I use a little bit of water to help smooth out the surface, and just use my fingers to just smooth out everything and make the surface of the clay as smooth as possible. And what I do right now is do something that would be, I guess, compared to a crumb coat and cake decorating. I do a first coat of clay where I just try to make sure that the surface will be as even as possible before I add any details, which will be done in a second layer of clay. I continue to add clay to each of the ladybug forms, and I don't know, I love getting my hands dirty in clay, and it's just a very relaxing, soothing process to smooth out the clay onto the surface of each piece. Once each of the ladybug forms is covered in clay on the top, I will allow it to dry and harden, and then I will begin working at the bottom of each piece. I already did a first layer of clay on the bottoms. When doing the second layer, I will use my silicone initial stamp, so my initials will be on all of the ladybug sculptures. I continue smoothing out the clay before using my initial stamp. There's my handmade silicone stamp. Let me know if you'd like me to do a video on how I make my handmade stamps. Here's a closer look at how my stamp looks pressed into the wet clay. This is when I use the container filled with rice. Uncooked rice, by the way. I let my pieces dry sitting in the rice. Since they are round, it helps them stay upright as they dry. I continue to add clay to the bottoms of each of the ladybug pieces. Once they are all done, I will let them dry before starting the next step in the process. Thank you for joining me for part 1 of my ladybug tutorial. Stay tuned for part 2 coming soon. In the meantime, check out my other air dry clay videos on my channel. I will post links to my other air dry clay videos under the description for this video. Please remember to like this video and subscribe, and I'll talk to you later.